Hello folks, today we are outside again and we're going to talk for a few minutes about one of my favorite topics. This is something that I actually study and love with my degree, so I have tried to keep it pretty brief and cut down to the essentials, but this is really a thing that I could talk on forever. So if you have questions, or if you want to talk about any of this stuff more, let me know. I'm also trying a new audio arrangement, so hopefully some of the background noise will be a little bit less bothersome. If we end up having any problems, or if there's anything that I can do to make these videos better for y'all, please do let me know. Cool. Alright, so this week you're reading Chaucer's Wife of Bath's Tale and Marie de France's Lanval. These are two romances from around the same area, similar areas in England, and about 200 years apart from each other. So Marie de France is writing in the late 1100s, and Chaucer is writing in the 1300s, mid-1300s. So, they're both examples of the genre known as medieval romance. That's what the capital are. While you may think of a romance genre as being defined by a central love story between a hero and a heroine, medieval romance is a different genre with different tropes and different rules. In this case, the word romance is referring to the language in which the stories are written. So they are written in a vernacular, usually, as opposed to being written in Latin. So Italian, French, those are romance languages, and so that's how you get the word romance. So, though, of course, the Chaucer is writing in English, there are romances in Welsh, in German, the name stuck. So, they were popular literature of the time, so they were written in either poetry or prose that was accessible to the majority of the population. So romances in general present fictional narrative accounts of adventures exploring the values and concerns of the aristocracy, including the chivalric code and courtly love, and I'm linking on Moodle to Andreas Capellanus's Rules of Courtly Love. If you want to check those out, it's just a list of 30 things. It might help inform how you want to think about these texts. And it's written around the same time that Marie was writing. So, but in addition to these medieval issues, they're also exploring concerns of inheritance, national identity, gender, race, marriage, family politics. So a lot of the same issues we're exploring with stories today. Both of the texts you read for this week are Arthurian romances, set during the reign of the fictional King Arthur. No, he was not real. Yes, I could talk about that at length. And these texts feature a fairly standard set of characters and plots. So you can think of romances sort of like comic books or superhero movies. The same characters appear in different stories, written by different writers, at different times, for different purposes and audiences. Or sometimes the same story is retold differently, for different purposes, or whatever. Think Tobey Maguire Spider-Man versus Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's the same story, told for a different generation. In the case of Arthurian romances, the retelling happened over and over, all across Europe and elsewhere, over 6 centuries of translations, retellings, and reworkings, both orally, out loud, and in writing. So there are examples of Hebrew and Arabic and German Arthurian romances, and there are other romance cycles that have even more further afield iterations, like in the case of the romances of King Alexander. So they were popular among wealthy elites and among common people, especially in the later Middle Ages, by the time Chaucer is writing in the 1300s, when you have more of a merchant class that not only can read and write a little, but also can have money to spend on, like, buying books of stories to read with their friends and family. Like you would go buy a movie ticket. Well, like you would once have gone and bought a movie ticket with your friends. Like you might have a streaming party, I guess now. So, common features in a lot of romances, and the funnest stuff, really, include, like, magic and the other world. So in medieval romance, in Arthurian romance, a lot of the magic and the mystical power that you see in the story comes from the otherworld, which is, in these stories, like, very often a place that you can really physically go, usually by crossing water or going underground. Or you might have beings or creatures come from the otherworld, and they might be signified by having, like, strange colors, like the Green Knight in Sir Gawain the Green Knight. He's all green, he's riding a green horse. Like, when he walks in, you know that that man is magic. Things like that. So, Avalon, for example, is a well-known romance otherworld in the Arthurian tradition. Morgan Le Fay is from Avalon in most of the traditions, and at the end of the whole Arthurian narrative, you know, that is where she takes King Arthur to go heal him. Because it's a place of magic and abundance and healing, right? So, often heroes in a romance will encounter objects, people, or beings from the otherworld, or they'll visit an otherworld and have, like, a hugely pivotal or transformative experience there. They're gonna learn a lesson, or power is gonna be transferred or assured, like when Niall encountered the hag at the well in The Adventures of the Sons of Enoch McLeodin last week, right? So, or, like, miraculous healing can occur, as in the case of King Arthur going to Avalon. So people make whole careers on discussing the different ways that the otherworld is presented and applied in different romances. It's something that I'm, like I said, really passionate about, really could talk about for a long time. But for our purposes, when you're encountering otherworldly, like, forces, spaces, encountering these magic ladies, mystical tents, and I don't know if we get any caves this week, you know, magic forests, that kind of thing. Think about how those characters and those objects and those spaces are used to explore complex ideas and issues from the text as well, and its historical context. So, you know, often knights are taught a lesson from their encounters with the otherworld, or audiences are meant to read a narrative of an otherworld encounter as authorizing some real-world authority or object. So, like, there are a lot of stories about, like, ancient, like, holy relics that have some kind of healing power, or King Arthur himself is often used for this kind of storytelling. Like, English kings will try to, like, tie their lineage back to King Arthur. Like, King Edward the First had a round table built and put into his court. It was like, look at me, King Arthur, I'm a descendant from King Arthur, y'all have to listen to me, because King Arthur is, like, the authorizing ruler, fictional ruler of England. So, think about, when you're thinking about these magic ladies and you're thinking about the otherworld, think about, like, the interpersonal and like power issues that you see in the text, and like how those issues of like gender and power and inheritance and family and nationhood and race are being explored with these kind of magical ideas and places and spaces and people. Just keep that in mind. Okay, I hope y'all are well. Hope you're having a good day. As always, email me with any questions or concerns. Thanks. Bye.